Here, we're asked to write our own answer, then something, his homework last night. It has to be in past tense. So the student will write their answer in the box provided. Olive will, something her orange juice, it's got to be future tense. So Olive will squeeze. We have an eraser here to erase if we wish, so another student can come up and put their answer in. We have examples through here. Like a report card. In this case, we have to circle the verbs in the present tense. And in this case, we have to write the correct spelling in the box provided. We have to change to past tense. The thief was caught. The stone was thrown. The cloth was woven. The films were shown. Let's have a look at punctuation. This is a beneficial lesson for strengthening punctuation and spelling, particularly when revising for the NAPLAN. We have an introduction with full stops and capital letters and an example. Then we follow on with clicking on the mistakes in the following sentences. We have to work out where the capital letters should be. And of course we've got to put the full stops in. With this lesson, we look at placement of full stops, commas, exclamation marks and question marks. Some students aren't aware of when to use commas, and so this section allows them to see what a difference the placement of a comma can make to the meaning of a sentence. A Year 7 student last year said to me, his explanation of the first example, Belinda is a pretty intelligent student, he said, well, miss, she's pretty smart. When he was asked what was meant by the second one, he said, well, Belinda is a pretty intelligent student. Well, she was not only smart, but she was hot, miss. Now I'll move to a punctuation exercise for a bit of fun. In this case, we have to capitalise where it needs to be capitalised. And we get 6 marks for each capital letter. We've got the audio to assist us.
What's the matter, Mum?
In that case, we need a question mark. This is self-correction as well. And we put a full stop there. And then
Mountain borders lying down the dirt wall at Threadbow, screaming with delight.
we need a comma after Threadbow, and we need a full stop after Delight. Eventually we get to a score of 186. Another excellent exercise is the check and correct. The next 2 passages are flawed with mistakes. Here we have to identify the errors and click on them. This exercise self-corrects and tells you how many mistakes are left at the bottom here.
The players were excited about the upcoming game. They thought they wouldn't lose this round. They were quite confident that their opponents hadn't been training as hard as they had. They had all tried to develop their skills over the last year, but this might not be enough.
And we can see that there are no errors left. The next lesson we will look at plurals and possessives. With this lesson, we are continuing to build on spelling rules and procedures in this lesson. Here we have 3 spelling rules. By adding S, in this case, tree to trees. If a word ends in Y, change Y to I and add ES, ferry, ferries. And when a word ends in S, X, CH or SH, we add ES. Here, we're asked to write in the plural. That's testing our spelling rules. With this worksheet, students have to change the nouns to plurals as well as altering other words so that the sentences are grammatically correct. In the first instance, this flower is sweet-scented becomes these flowers are sweet-scented. The second exercise, her glasses fell onto the paths. With possessive, singular possessive and plural possessive, we also have rules. With singular possessive, it's an apostrophe S. Plural possessive, the apostrophe goes after the S. And if the plural form of the word does not end in S, you simply add apostrophe S. Here we have possessive singular nouns. We have to write the possessive form of the singular noun. The first example, the car of the policeman, becomes the policeman's car. The bone of the dog becomes the dog's bone. Then we have examples of possessive plural nouns. This example is done for you. The parrot's cage is the cages of the parrots. The bowls of the kittens becomes the kittens' bowls. Let's move to syllables so we can build on our spelling.
Mayday, mayday.
We have an explanation of what a syllable is, which is the breaking down of words. In this case, we have to match a syllable from the first column with the second column to make a complete word. On an exercise that involves dragging and dropping, and it is self-correcting, is salvage the syllables. This provides some fun with the recognition of the correct number of syllables. If you put one in the wrong box, it explodes and goes back into the word list. Using bright animations and sound, ReadMe stimulates the imagination of students so that they are more willing to draw on their own personal or simulated experiences. With similes, there's an explanation. And then we have examples. With this worksheet, students are asked to identify the similes and metaphors. In this exercise, we have to drag the simile or the metaphor to complete the figures of speech. The crane stretched over our heads. The simile, like a prehistoric monster. The scars on his body were like aged rings on an old tree. The train thundered down the track like a huge steel horse. The baby's skin was unblemished porcelain. The old man was a bent tree weighed down by the passage of time. To assist students with descriptive writing, we might have a small look at personification. In this exercise with personification, we have to drag the words that personify the fox onto the image. This assists with descriptive writing by helping the students use richer adjectives. The same with the car. And again with the parrot. With sequencing, we have a Genghis Khan timeline. In this case, we have to read the information. So we press on the button that says Show Information. This gives us information about Genghis Khan and his life. Once we have read that, we go back, hide the information, and we have to place the information onto the correct timeline. If it's not correct, it will bounce back. The Fibonacci sequence. Here we've got a word list that we have to place the correct words into the close exercise. Leonardo Fibonacci was born around 1170. An Italian mathematician also known as Leonardo of Pisa. Now, if we put the wrong one into the space, it will bounce back.